Coming off of a game that was really just all around poor from our quarterback in CJ Stroud, struggled to just get 50% completion, but very much struggled to complete a pass to our own team with 5 interceptions in that game, though he did have 1 touchdown, and that touchdown did go to the star player of the game in Antonio Gibson, who came in and played phenomenal, filling out for Akers, who did get injured after his first carry. Though the defense struggled to stop any scoring after those turnovers, and we would inevitably lose to the Cardinals 41-14. And that leaves us in week 17, where we have 2 games remaining, and the first one, today's game, going to be against the 13-2 Atlanta Falcons behind a 97 overall Bijan Robinson. It's going to be a tough task for this team, though it reminds me just a few weeks ago where we played against the Seattle Seahawks. At that time, they were 11-2, looking really good. We handed them their 3rd loss of the season. It was a close defensive battle. We only won by a late game field goal, but either way, we got the win against a really good team who also has a pretty high overall young running back. So hopefully we'll see some similar play. Cam Akers is going to be back in this game. Hopefully he stays injured, knock on wood. And we also, if need be, have Gibson, who's coming off a really good game, and that's going to be the direction of the offense for this game. We want to go more in the run, probably to the outside. We'll see how much play we could get down the middle, and hopefully we just don't have 5 interceptions and CJ Stroud is a competent quarterback. But we'll see as we jump on into today's game. We'll see the offense out first as we are underway. The boot is off as Williams set back to return. Will be a return. Try to cut to the right-hand side, and maybe we should have just called the fair catch as we're going to start back at the 20. Gonna see if CJ Stroud can bounce back again from a poor game. 1 touchdown to 5 interceptions. And he's done that a few times this season where he's had the positive touchdown to interception ratio and then goes on a really bad streak as we're going to try to get Akers to the outside. Probably should have stuck towards the middle. He had more space there, but he does get close to the first. And we're definitely going to work on having a more heavy rotation between him and Gibson these last 2 weeks, as we do have an RPO called up here. And we'll go ahead and swing it to the outside. Going to find Palmer, who does break the first tackle, headed down the field, picking up an extra 15 or so after contact. That's what we need to see more. Break some tackles, get up the field. This has definitely been our best wide receiver group that we've had so far in this series, though still feel like there's a little bit of some room to improve. As we try to get this one over the top, Tommy Tremble, a good throw, tried to fight off the tacklers. We'll end up picking up a first down to the 36. And those are definitely the kind of throws that we need to see from Stroud. Put it over the top of the linebackers. Now a possible one-on-one to Palmer towards the end zone. Going to be some play action, though Tommy Tremble's going to be the easier throw here. Going back-to-back plays down inside the 13 is now Tyron Smith. A little bit shaken up. Looks like a potential maybe elbow injury. Something to do with that arm. He's going to go into the locker room, get that furtherly checked. And that does bring Dickinson out at right tackle. He's gotten benched due to his play for a good part of this series. And hopefully he does well today as we do run behind him and we pick up 3. And on 2nd and 7, let's shake it up a little bit, go in shotgun, a tight shotgun look. Palmer's probably going to need to shorten that just a little bit. Try to get him towards that back pylon. Akers swinging out as well. We have options. And we will go Akers' way with the catch. Bouncing off of 1, but stopped by Terrell. And will end up being a 1st and goal at the 1. But it is not good news from the locker room. Smith is out the remainder of this game. So it's time to see if Dickinson can shine as Akers plows through a few different Falcons defenders, all the way up through the end zone, and we grab a lead. And I feel like that is very similar to how the Seahawks game started. We're just going to see if our defense can play well today. Again, very hit or miss last week as they go Robinson play 1 and just get 1, though he's coming off a near 100-yard game plus 2 touchdowns. But that was also just his rushing yardage. probably was getting a little bit more involved in the passing game as well, as they go back to him here. Space right down the middle, juking by one, shaking off another. Robinson trying to sprint away. Swain dives, misses. Rice catches him, but they're down inside the 10. That has been this team's problem. Secure tackling is not a strong suit as we send the extra guy, but they have Pitts wide open. I want to say that was Swain in coverage, just got beat man on man. And after what I thought was a pretty good drive from our offense, Falcons do the same thing in at least half the time, if not quicker. So we need to answer back as we start back out here on offense, trying to get the screen off, and yeah, that went nowhere. I'm glad Akers dropped it. So on 2nd and 10, we'll change it up a little bit here. Was going to go with the RPO, but they're playing some press man on the outside, so we'll just hand it off instead. Try to find some space. Akers with a nice cutback. Not going to quite speed away, but does pick up 5. And on 3rd and 5, we'll spread wide. Going shotgun, got 2 to the left, 1 off to the right. Some play action. Couple crossing routes, see who we could get open. As we have to roll out, we have Palmer, who's headed downfield in tight coverage, and it gets picked off. I don't know what happened there. Just looked like Palmer didn't even really try to get the catch, and Grant jumps it. And it's another interception for Stroud. A bit unfortunate for CJ, as I don't feel like that one was really his fault. He put that where Palmer was going to be, just did not make the play as Robinson starts off with a gain of near 10. This is going to be a game where we need the defensive line to come through for us. We haven't seen much from Luke Peak at all this year, despite showing some signs early his rookie year. And Nick Bell, we've talked about him a lot. Pretty big disappointment for a former 6th overall pick. Though who has not been a disappointment, Bijan Robinson. Again, up to a 97, I believe I said earlier. Absolutely insane growth from him. As I go back to him, it's been pretty much him almost all of their plays. Though, funnily enough, the one play they didn't go his way was the touchdown to Pitts to end their last drive, as we're under the minute mark here in the first quarter. As they go with a essential pick play on the outside, though it's not an accurate throw. And that gives our defense a chance to hold them to a field goal here on 3rd and 9. There will be a throw from Ritter, who's going to step up, look to scramble. We come crashing down and do get the stop just inside the 20. Will be 4th and 1, and I do expect to go with a field goal here. And indeed, they will bring out Younghoe Koo. We're coming off a game against Kyler Murray, so defense used to scrambling-type quarterbacks did well there. We hold them to just the 3, which is at least better than giving up a touchdown off of a turnover. As again, we're going to go with that RPO, but they have the down coverage. We'll get Akers to the outside instead. Try to put on the move there, but a secure tackle for sure by the free safety. And that'll bring us to the end of the first quarter. So a good first drive. Obviously, second drive ended with the turnover, but it wasn't a bad job from Stroud there. We just need to see a little bit more aggression out of our receivers in getting the catch, something that really don't seems like happens very often here in Madden, as we need to find someone to dump this off to or just chuck it out of bounds, leaving us with a 3rd and 5. And we'll bring out the 4 receiver group here, 3 off to the right hand side, 1 to the left. Gonna try to go with this halfback screen with some blockers out in front. They do actually pick up one of the 2 blocks, and a late tackle for sure. Ref does not throw the flag, but I'm sure a fine is on its way. And since we're playing the Falcons here, feels safe to bring it up. If you guys watched the real-life Vikings-Falcons game, we had our running back in Akers, surprisingly enough, as that pass off the hands of Davis. But Akers was fined about $8,000 for pointing at a defensive lineman that he decleated in a clean block. Meanwhile, we had one of our guys get knocked out on a dirty, illegal hit, and they got fined less than $5,000. So, doesn't make sense to me. But we all know the NFL is questionable of late, as we have a 3rd and 8 here. 2 spread either side. They send a blitz. Stroud gonna try to step up, roll with it. We'll get this one out to Jarrett on a interesting throw, but he does pick up the first down and an injury. Looks like he's clutching at his back there. Hopefully, just a back spasm. I have about 3 of those a day. Now this one is at least serious enough to head to the locker room. So in his place, Marshall gonna come out there, and this is pretty much all the receivers we have left. Ayers, the rookie, did suffer a broken finger, I believe it was, during practice this week, so he's pretty much done for the season. So we might have to rely a little bit more on these running backs and some of the tight ends. Probably some more heavier tight end sets since we only have these 4 receivers, as that one nearly picked off. Had a crossing route by Nakua, but not a good enough ball. So on 3rd and 2, we bring back out the strong pistol set, and they are playing off coverage here. We'll go out there quickly to Marshall, who's close, and the refs do give it to us. They say move those chains, and I say appreciate it. And early indications from the locker room is we are also going to be without Jarrett. So we're down 2 of our starting offensive players fairly early on in this game, as we have Tommy Tremble. Good adjustment to the ball, and we're back down to around the 15. Kind of seeing a little bit of some all-around play from Stroud. Obviously did have the interception, not really his fault, but has thrown some interesting balls / not good ones. But all in all, right now we're marching. So we're inside the 15 for 2nd and 8. Gonna go with a little some play action. Toss this one up for Tommy, and the flag comes in, but it's another interception from Grant. Might be DPI here. And that's exactly what they call. So it will be a free 1st down at the goal line here. Once again, going to attack this left-hand side. Akers not going to squeeze through the gap. Good blitz from the linebackers. Timed it up well. Bush credited with the tackle for loss, as maybe we could hit DeGuara here, leaking out. If we could get it out there quick enough, with plenty of space, an easy, secure catch. No drama on that one, as we retake our lead. Well, so far today, our offense keeping up with that of the Falcons. It's just, right now, seems like what defense is going to make that final big play. As they start at the 25, some play action roll. They'll have an open Pitts here, who gets the catch and then chopped out by Rice for the gain of 6. We haven't seen much from Adebo, I feel like, in a while. His coverage, I think, is just solid, so he's not targeted often. This will be another quick throw. As I say it, they do it. Finding a 1st down. Was at least tight coverage, but still, they find Cohen with that 1st down. So maybe I should just not say things, because then they typically seem to happen, as potentially Smith just jumped off sides on the hard count. But no, they say actually Robinson moved a little early there. So Smith maybe forced the penalty to be thrown as they go across the middle and find their target with a short gain. Make it 2nd and 11. And with us hitting the 2-minute warning there, I would like to find a quick play here. Quick blitz as we send the double A gap. It's Smith off the edge, who dives, misses, but at least he wasn't the only one missing. Ritter missed the throw to Drake London. And that'll leave us with a 3rd and 11, which they come out with a tight single back set. Will throw out of it. They had to rush out and get a beautiful block from all of their receivers, and a little subtle juke. They're down inside the 15 before Swain gets the ankles. Should have been another tackle for a lost sack, as we did get a little bit of a rush off the edge, but no. Instead, Ritter with his legs makes the huge play. Great sealed from there by Pitts. And just a little subtle juke all around his bad tackling, which, as mentioned earlier, unfortunately nothing new with this team, as again, flag thrown for early movement. It's going to be back again on the Falcons. Though in a way, kind of acts like a free timeout, though each team does still have 3. 1:10 on the clock before halftime, as they're going out to Pitts, who is in for the touchdown. Adebo could not knock it free, and he has 2 in the first half as they retake a lead. But with 1:06 still on the clock here, can we find our own points? We are down a field goal. Gonna start with a halfback screen out to Gibson. Picking up the blocks, trying to get around the edge, and scampers out of bounds with a near 1st down, though they mark it 2nd and inches. And a time like this is where it's nice to have the big body of Jarrett, but again, we're missing him. We're missing Smith, our best offensive lineman. As we go to the outside, it's jumped. Not a smart decision there by Stroud, and it's going to be a pick 6. Make it a 2-score lead now before half, as A.J. Terrell Jr. just makes the bigger play. And it wasn't long ago that I had just mentioned this game might come down to whatever defense does make the bigger play, and hopefully that one does not end up being it. But it does lessen our time here. But we have across the middle, it's Davis, as we were going to answer back one play as he does get into the end zone. Looked like he was running out of gas, but on one play, We answer back the pick six, though still down the field goal. It was a nice call there to beat that single high safety and pretty much erases the mistake, though now we do not have the opportunity, depending on what else happens, as that time they do not miss Drake London, as we actually miss a couple tackles. But we at least are missing that opportunity to take a lead here, as we were just down that field goal with an opportunity. Instead, Falcons have another opportunity to widen their lead, as Ritter gonna take a hit and get pretty lucky that Murray Jr. just dropped that. Should have been a pick, a big play for this defense. But instead, no, they get off scot-free basically, as a sack not coming in. Smith at least with a hit, 3rd and 10. And they'll be going at it from an empty look. I got a bunch off to the right, 2 to the left-hand side. From a clean pocket, Ritter does get rid of it. He should have stepped up, but he hesitated. And we might have just enough time to maybe get into field goal range. Though with how good of a punt they just had, maybe not. We have all 3 timeouts, but 16 seconds, and we're back at our own 7. They're going to start off with a halfback screen, get it out there for Akers, who does not speed away. And that tells me probably we should just let this one run to half. So we'll play the smarter game there. Do send it on into halftime. We had some mistakes in that first half, but we answered back to them quickly, keeping up with a really good team. Coming into this game, what, 2 losses? 14-2, I believe? We're right next to them, so hopefully we'll see better play to clean up those mistakes in the second half. Meanwhile, Cardinals are up 7-0 on the Buccaneers headed towards halftime. Buccaneers also not doing too hot, 3-12 this season. As for the next game we're going to be taking a look at, Vikings taking on the Lions. It is a Vikings lead currently, 14-3 going towards halftime. Both of those teams not doing all too hot. As for our last studio update, taking a look at the Seahawks matchup against the Panthers. It is a big win. A lot of points scored in that one, but the Seahawks end up on top, 38-22, improving to 13-3. But as we get our second half underway, it's going to be the Falcons out on offense. They're up 3, 24-21, as they start at the 25. A whole lot of 20s thrown in there, as they hand it off. Robinson fighting forward for a gain of 5, already near 100 yards rushing. Though I do feel like the team did mostly well against him in that first half. He just gave up about 1 big play, I believe. As we send the blitz here, it's a quick throw. Gonna find Drake London with a first down at about midfield. Just seems like every time they go on those quick slants, some way or how, our guys are getting bumped off in coverage, whether it's our own current teammates who are doing it or one of the Falcons receivers, but they're getting away with it, as Paris Campbell a little bit shaken up after the hit. He'll head over to the sideline, which is typically a good sign. Not as big of an injury, not going to miss much time. As they go with some play action, right across the middle, they find their target, who's running away with it. Down inside the 10, inside the 5, and at the 3. This Falcons team can strike quickly, as they're once again down at the goal line with 1st and goal. They got a bunch to the right-hand side as they set up a little zig route, and Dowell finishes off what he started, extending their lead back to 10. And once again, we are chasing. 31-21 as we start here on offense with some good blocks down the middle. Akers scampers forward, almost broke away there, but they got the ankle. But a near 20-yard rush. He obviously hasn't had as big of a game as that of Robinson, but still both of these guys are pretty much their offenses. As we go on the slant route, gonna find Marshall, who holds onto it until he fumbles. Recovered by the Falcons. The second hit came from behind and just went strictly for that ball, forced it out. Now the Falcons could really try to run away with this one, as they keep setting up some really good underneath play off of some of their other guys, though. Another injury, this time Tyler Cohen. Now that one appears to be a little bit more serious, as he will head to the locker room with a quick throw on the slant, and Swain just didn't even try on that one. He bumped off, again, our own cover guy. It's these simple mistakes right now stacking up, as we're already down 2 possessions. Going to Robinson down the middle, who will pick up a couple yards. And we could really use a big play from this defense, as they get a bunch to that right-hand side. It looks like Campbell back out there from his earlier injury as they go back to the backup running back who had all the space down the middle. Gain of 12 for Minor. Feel like this defense doesn't force a lot of turnovers, but when they do, they make a big impact on the game as they're going deep but overthrowing for Drake London. Some of the best coverage we've seen today. With a 2nd and 10, again sticking with a heavy set, pass rush, missing and firing for a 3rd touchdown to Kyle Pitts. Every time we miss an opportunity at a sack, we pay for it in the biggest way. And just past halfway through the 3rd quarter, already feels like crunch time here. Down multiple possessions. We got to get some scores going as we go to Akers. Bounces off of 1, but not going to get by the 2nd, just a gain of 2. Though once again, they come at us with a single high safety. We're going to run the same play we ran prior to halftime here. As it opens up again here for us, it's Corey Davis trying to split the defenders, but not going to outrun them, but a big gain down to the opposite 35. Whenever they come out in those single high, we got to make them pay. As it's 1st and 10, now I'm going to go with some play action. See if we can get anyone down the middle. Up in double coverage, Parkinson nearly came away with it, but then so did the Falcons defenders. Count ourselves maybe a little bit lucky there. As we have 2nd and 10, going to go with a little bit of some counter action here down the middle. We just net 2. Now, I do feel like it's been a little while since we've got any plays to Nakua. They're in a double A gap. They do back out of it. Across the middle, we're going to have Palmer with a secure catch. Didn't want to make any misses as we are missing another offensive lineman. David Williams now shaken up. And he will head to the locker room, so he might be out the remainder of this game. So we're going to flip the lineman here. Dickinson back over to left tackle as Huggins comes in on the right side. A little bit of some RPO dialed up here. We'll hand it off. Akers down the middle, spins off of 1. Not going to break away, but a gain of 5. And that'll leave us with 2nd and 5 at the 8. Would have been better at the 5, but either way, we're at least moving here. Stroud tried to step up, but no. Dropped, but gains 1. Needing to find a touchdown here. If we could do it before the end of the 3rd, that would be great. Stepping up back in the end zone. It's nearly picked as he ran the wrong route. Should have came on an in at the back of the end zone. Instead, it was ran as a comeback. And we'll have to settle for the field goal here. At least make it a 2-touchdown game. As Brown does knock it through the uprights. Not what we were hoping for, but it at least is something that we needed. We're just going to have to hope this defense can make their big plays as there's 4 seconds here left in the 3rd. 2-touchdown game. Can't be giving up many points as they do get that one off a bad tackle from Adebo as it's going to be a 1st down to end the 3rd quarter. Dowell has made some big plays today, and we're going to have to find a way to limit those or at least make them defensively. We kept things close in that 1st half. We let things slip there in the 3rd, but we've got to come ready here in the 4th. Something, honestly, this team has struggled to do as they're lofting that one up beautifully for Drake London. Over the top of the coverage and down to the 28. We've just got to find some pass rush here. We can't rely on perfect coverage for 5 seconds. Need something from this defensive line who really has not done all too well today. They at least provided a little bit of some hurry there. A good tackle from Adebo that time. The problem is when we wait to play this well when they're already in field goal range. We can't be giving up points. As Robinson has some space, but no, it's a play action instead. A great play action. As once again, it's Drake London, this time inside the 10. Now when they've been down here, they've gone Pitt's way. Already has 3 touchdowns on the day. Trying to make it a 4th of a jump ball knocked away. Though they still have plenty more plays here to try to get it back to him. 2nd and goal. They'll go with a play action. Swing it to one of their other tight ends who's just sitting wide open, but not into the end zone, down to the 1. And I'm feeling a little risky here. Trying to send the house, get back there as quickly as we can, but no. Somehow, 5, max 6 blockers do way better than all of our rushers, and they do tack on another touchdown. And this has really just become a game of how quickly can we score to try to answer whatever the Falcons do. consistently having to try to rely on our defense to make the big plays that we need. But right now on offense, the big plays are coming through Davis as he gets another big one up to the 40. Or actually to the opposite 40, but we needed a big play from one of these backup receivers due to injury, and he's really come to play today. As we have Palmer on the outside, a should have been touchdown, but instead a bad throw. And once again, those are nothing new. We've seen that happen so many times this year. As we're going back to some play action, they've covered those so well. As we have to roll out here, try to buy some time, get this one apparently not downfield to the turf. Just always so questionable to me is how we cannot throw when under pressure, even semi-accurately. But it's 3rd and 10. We need a first down here. Palmer not quite going to get the nice cut we needed, and it's not a well-placed ball either. Another interception. I want to say 3rd of the day for Stroud, and that could pretty much just be it. Needed that route to be a little bit sharper. Instead, it was kind of a soft cut. But either way, it was placed down the field and definitely was not going to help us out. Good stop there for Murray Jr., though. He hasn't had the best day when it's come to man coverage on Pitts, but he gets involved often, and that's about as much as we've been able to hope for. Also, these penalties help out. It's got to be their 3rd, if not 4th, false start. As it's 2nd and 13 with a single back set. We'll hand this one off Robinson, and there's a stop from Bell, but way too late in this game to really matter. Though we at least have an opportunity to get off the field here. With a little around 3.5 minutes, it's 3rd and 15, in which they do hand it off. Robinson down the middle. Not going to get all too far, but just gets to 100 yards rushing on 10 carries. And as we have just a few minutes left, it is Bo Harold coming out at quarterback. We'll see if he can get the job done here, because Stroud was not getting it done for majority of this second half, as that was a questionable throw that could have also been picked again by Hughes. Both quarterbacks definitely aren't making the smartest decision, and that's what we've seen through really all of both of their time starting, as Harold trying to scramble, make something happen. He'll basically just get back to the line of scrimmage. And this offensive line has been depleted this game, out both of our starting tackles. Though we haven't been harassed all too much from the pocket, because we're going to have to step up here on the screen, try to make something happen. We get it outside to Palmer, who was open, but wasn't an accurate throw. Though as we're still down multiple possessions, we're still going to try to go for it here on 4th down. Would love a touchdown to end this game, but would need to convert here. Across the middle, we have Nakua with the catch, and he holds on to it, but he is also shaken up. It too appears to not be as big. He heads to the bench, but running really thin at receiver here as we just got to chuck that one deep. Palmer was there, and Marshall almost had it off the tip, but no, knocked away. 2-minute warning. Big hit spread around there. It's going to go back to some play action. We got Tommy Trimble, but the hit knocked that one wayward and nearly intercepted once again. Now on 3rd and 10, I wanted to go with the RPO, but they do have press coverage. So instead, how about a little bit of some play action? Can we find a nice roll anywhere? Coming across the middle, just throw it deep, and why not another interception to end this game there. Grant does get his second after he did have his second one called away from a DPI. But either way, this offense fell quite short this second half and could not keep up with the Falcons offense. But I do definitely feel like this loss comes down to the quarterback play. We were outdueled by Ritter. They were able to make plays on the move, avoid sacks, avoid hits, and make the big plays. Meanwhile, Stroud struggled to make much of any completions that second half, and ultimately led to the demise of the offense and us losing this game. And with that loss, we still remain the worst team in the NFL, sitting at 3-13, same as the Buccaneers. So we'll see what ends up happening in the last and final game, which, as mentioned at the top of the episode, will be against our division rival in the San Francisco 49ers, who are currently 9-7. Are there any playoff implications here? They are currently the 6th seed. Washington Commanders at the 7th. So if we do happen to beat them, maybe we could throw off some playoffs for one of our rivals, but Ultimately, we're still going to have a rival in there, as we do have the Seahawks, the 2 seed, though we played the 1 seed very closely in that first half. Second half, it just got away from us. Stroud struggled to complete some balls, but it's nothing new. But that does mean that we have a whole bunch of options when it does come to the draft. And speaking of the draft, we currently have slated the first overall pick plus the final pick of the first round, and then the very next pick in the second. So we have 3 picks in the top 33 selections. So we really need to take advantage of that. Unfortunately, we only have 4 picks in the top 100. Our 5th pick comes just after that. So we really need to make sure we're hitting big on these selections. And obviously, the big question right now is at quarterback, because we've played with 4 or 5 different quarterbacks and no one has been the answer for us. Could one of these guys be that answer? We'll have to finish the scouting in the offseason to find out if these guys are truly a top 5, because if they are, then yeah, they could definitely be a candidate for being our next quarterback. But if they drop to even a first rounder, then I definitely feel like we maybe would just need to stick with Stroud and try to figure out why he is struggling so much, especially late on in the games. Because these accuracies, they're not all A's, though there's plenty of good options. My favorite from what I've seen so far is Caleb Harris, 6'5", 234, 22 years old, out of Wyoming. I think he's Josh Allen 2.0, because dude has good to great speed, good to great strength, great to elite throw power. Jumping is also good to great. I mean, all around, he looks like a pretty good athlete. He has the good accuracies. He has B for throw under pressure, throw on the run. Awareness is an A. Play action is even an A. So hopefully we see that he is a true top 5 and we might have ourselves a generational talent at quarterback. That is what we hope for. Outside of the quarterback spot, we could look for a future running back. There is an option here in Deacon Harrison, who does look pretty interesting, though. Do we go with that early? I don't think so. Especially if you could drop to much later and go with a guy like Kai Carrington out of Florida State, who still has a pretty good top 3, though the catching not going to be as big there. But then even further down, Jeff Boley out of Tennessee. All A's across the top there, at least A to C's. He looks very intriguing and is someone I would like to pick up in that later round, listed as a power back with good to great speed. I mean, he's built just like Cam Akers and potentially could be even better than Cam Akers by the end. So there's some options at running back late on. I would love to find a speedy down the field receiver, because right now we have a bunch of physical kind of guys. But no one here is really screaming at me in terms of down the field threats. There is at least a guy here like Gordon Purnell who does have the B release, but catching and deep route running are F. So trying to find that talent might be difficult. There is Devin Allen, a first rounder, though 5'11", 191, good to great speed. If that was great to elite, who knows, maybe. He at least has the release. Catching is questionable. Has the B deep route running, but the other route running, again, questionable. So there's not that complete target here at the receiving group, and I feel like that is something that we could potentially address. Offensive line is another. We'll probably have to replace Tyron Smith. Maybe we could see Dickinson have some sort of resurgence, maybe switching over to the right tackle spot. Who knows? There are plenty of tackle options in this class. But defensive line, we've got to see some improvement. We need some pass rush to help out this DB group, even the linebackers, because right now the back 2/3 of the defense is having to do all the work while the front is just not doing much. And there's at least some options that seem intriguing. Over at left end, Kevin Flowers, still one of my favorite guys here, as he does have that A to C block shed with A power moves. Need to see some combinations. There is Larry Basley as well, around 2 to 3, who does have the A power moves, B block shed, but good tackle. We need a dual threat here along the defensive line. We've stuck with so many single talent guys, and we're really paying a price for it. At the right end spot, there is one option that does, or a couple options that do look intriguing. Virgil Jett is on the brink there. He maybe could be a 2 talent kind of guy, maybe just the 1, but Randall Billingsley's definitely on my list. Again, with that B block shed, A power moves. We've got some guys. As for the linebackers, I don't think we need to go after this spot. I would love to maybe find some better man coverage. We've gotten burned at that spot a little bit. Cornerback's perfectly fine. I would love to find a strong safety. There's other positions I think we need to go at early. So if someone maybe drops a little underrated, but is actually pretty good that we could find, that would be great, because right now we have Jaron Curse and he's getting on the older side. So definitely expect a lot of things to happen after next episode, but we will finish that one off tomorrow. So season finale will be out tomorrow. Do not miss it. Hit that bell icon on the bottom right, or scroll down, hit that subscription button down below. But definitely make sure you tap that bell icon so you're notified of when these videos go live. As again, just one more game until we get into that off season, and need to make some big changes because we're tired of below 5-win seasons. I don't even think we've hit 5 wins so far this series. So need to get that corrected. Do not miss out this series every single Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday with the state-only challenge. Currently the Southwest every Wednesday and Saturday. So a whole lot of content coming your way. Do not miss out, and we will see you guys in that season finale tomorrow. Bye.